Good morning. There is a lot of discussion about whether Watchtower's governing body lives in luxury or not. Now, they certainly don't pay rent, they have everything provided, they have a generous clothing allowance. When they fly, it seems that they might travel first class. It's possible they have chauffeur-driven cars, but that might be expedient if you don't have to find a parking space and then walk back from where you were. It can help save a bit of time. I think they have the same sort of apartment as anybody else, although of course they would get first choice and so on. But we're talking about the billions of dollars that doesn't actually belong to them, but they have the control of this. Are they using it properly? James has a lot to say about rich people, so we can look at James chapter 5 and verse 1. Come now, you rich, weep and howl for the miseries that are coming upon you. Your riches have rotted and your garments are moth-eaten. In other words, your money won't do you any good at all when the Lord returns. So this is talking about those who misuse riches. Some are rich and are generous. These weren't. They were hiring labourers to work in the fields and bring in the harvest, and then not paying them their wages. So the harvesters were suffering badly. That was to be condemned badly, because in verse 5 it says, you have lived on the earth in luxury and in self-indulgence. That's not to be done. Now, the next verse is quite interesting and seems not to be connected. Verse 7, be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. And you think, how is that connected? Well, this is where the context is quite important. As with the Apostle Paul's writings, the context will help us understand. So we'll go back to chapter 4 and verse 11. Do not speak evil against one another, brothers. Don't grumble about the little irritating, niggly things that our brothers do, and we all do it. If someone steps on our toes, try to forgive it and overlook it. Now, when we're young, we're very righteous and we think, why don't people do things this way or that way? When you get older, you think, oh, we've all done the wrong things, and you make allowances. So, going back to chapter 5 and verse 8, James says, be patient, establish your hearts. What does he mean? Well, he wants us to be able to cope with wrongdoing. He says, don't be resentful. Why? Because the coming of the Lord is at hand. Don't grumble against one another, brothers. Overlook their little niggly things, so that you may not be judged, so that God will not judge our little irritating ways. But the judge is standing at the doors, so those who have done the wrong things will be judged adversely. So Watchtower, be careful what you're doing with those billions. You have stolen kingdom halls and so on. Give them back. Make restitution. We're not overlooking serious sins, just niggly things. How do we deal with them? James goes on to say in chapter 5 and verse 16, confess your sins to one another. This is not, I thought something not very nice last week. This is if you've stolen money, if you have defrauded, if you've done something seriously wrong, then confess it. Why? Because then we can pray for each other and we can be healed. Now, those who want to sin, they will soon leave us anyway. So it goes on in verse 19. My brothers, if anyone among you wanders from the truth, and Watchtower, I believe you have wandered from the right way with your riches, it says we need to bring them back. Let him know that whoever brings a sinner from his wandering will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins. Watchtower, please do the right thing. Let's go back, though, to chapter 4. How do we cope? In verse 6 it says that God gives more grace to those who are suffering. Now, I'm not talking about crimes here. serious crimes and abuse needs to go to the police and needs to be dealt with. This is talking about things that we can overlook and get the resentment out of our hearts. Because it goes on to say in verse 8, draw near to God, he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners. Purify your hearts, you double-minded. This is for those who are seriously sinning, of course. But for us, we can calm our hearts with God's help. So it says in verse 10, humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will exalt you. Our God, our Father, will take care of us. Every day we will draw as close to him as possible. He will take care of us. So God be with you, and God bless.